Coming up on Global Business, holiday rush. China's Golden Week is living up to its name with a travel and spending boom across the country, with passenger trips more than doubling from last year. Stronger ties. China and Germany are working on a blueprint for fiscal and financial cooperation, and the strengthening of economic ties could be of mutual advantage. And in today's special report marking the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative, we explore cooperation between China and Tanzania under the framework. And welcome everyone to Global Business here on CGTN. I'm Michael Wong in Beijing. We start with China's holiday consumption. With this year's Golden Week spanning both the Mid-Autumn Festival and the National Day holidays, the Chinese people are hitting the road to make the most of this 8-day break. Now, as of noon today, data shows that the total Golden Week box office has already exceeded 1.5 billion yuan, up from 2019's 1.49 billion yuan. And sales of major retail and dining enterprises nationwide during the first 3 days are up more than 8% from last year. Meanwhile, popular scenic spots are also packed as tourists travel around the country. Sunday saw over 52 million passenger trips via railway, highway, water and air transport, an increase of more than 50% compared to last year. Well, it is now the 4th day of the National Day holiday. For more on the ongoing holiday vibe, CGTN's Dai Kai-yi shares his observations with us.
I'm currently at a business district here in the Chinese capital, Beijing, and just on my way here, I saw a bustling crowds. So that actually gives you a sense of how this National Day holiday vacation is. Actually, this year we got an 8-day holiday, which is longer than usual. You don't get this every year. So people are actually making the most of it. The momentum of going out, traveling, and buying certainly continues after a vibrant Labor Day holiday earlier this May, and also the summer season that has just passed. Actually, experts are quite confident. They even predict that the total consumption volumes, if you will, for this National Day holiday could even reach a 5-year high. That's how much they're confident towards the consumption level for this year's holiday season. And then instead of just going for short distance vacations to some nearby cities or provinces, many people choose this time to go farther, experience deeper, and stay longer. That's one of the major trends for many of the tourists this year. According to the data of travel booking platform Ctrip, actually the tourism-related orders surged to around 3 times compared to the same period last year, and is around 20% more compared to the Labor Day holiday. So another trend that they spotted is many of the overseas destinations are quite popular this time. For example, 2 of China's special administrative regions, Hong Kong and Macau, and many of the southeastern countries like Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore.
So indeed, China's tourism market is poised to be red hot during the 8-day national holiday. And it's not just about young people with backpacks. An increasing number of Chinese seniors are taking to the road as well and are willing to open their wallets to spend on a little adventure. Our Ying Junyi has more on the new trend of older travelers. Take a look.
Seniors are becoming increasingly active in China's tourism industry these days, taking scenic train rides, traveling on cruise ships, and even camping in the wild. According to the China Tourism Academy, there will be more than 100 million young old travelers in China who are on the road frequently by the end of 2025. 60-year-old Jiang Shiying is one of them. She spent more than 15,000 yuan on her trip so far this year.
I
plan to go to Chongming during the holiday, and I'll take a trip to Sigunyang Mountain in Sichuan later next month. I have taken several trips this year, including a short distance one to Shaoxing, and for a longer trip, I've been to Xiamen.
Zhang says that having more free time and good health are leading her and her friends to be more adventurous.
It's quite happy to travel with my friends. We prefer places featuring historic culture and great nature landscape. We travel more now as we have much more time after retirement, so I want to go to more places when I'm still able to. Also, it's easier now to book trips on your phone.
方便，手机上都能订。
Online travel agency Trip.com reports that as of the end of May, the number of registered users over 60 years old on its platform had seen a growth of 159% compared to that of 2019, and they are willing to spend money on their tours, with their travel bookings jumping by 87% year-on-year. To cash in on the senior market, travel agencies are thinking more about putting together better package deals and age-appropriate services for the older adventurers.
9月份呢，50岁以上的用户在跟团游中占比也是近20%。
In September alone, over 50s contributed 20% of our group tour business. Seniors prefer products like sightseeing tours and wellness tours, and we'll be offering more of those. Also, many seniors prefer to take trips to the countryside, and so to meet that demand we have been spending more time locating rural areas with good locations and places where folk customs are well preserved.
来满足老年人对于绿色田园生活和特色乡村的风景的向往。
As of the end of 2022, the number of people in China aged 60 or above accounted for almost 20% of the population. An estimate from the China Tourism Academy says the country's tourism sector is expected to hit a value of 1 trillion yuan by 2025. 殷俊英 ICS for CGTN Shanghai.
And China's car rental business is also booming during this year's national holiday. That says travelers increasingly opt for this more convenient means of transport. Our Su Xinbo reports.
Renting a car to travel is emerging as a new consumer trend during the national holiday this year. Car rental booking orders in Beijing are up more than 200% compared to last year during the vacation. At some rental outlets, customers were arriving almost every minute to pick up cars during peak times.
The bookings on our platform have risen over 40% compared to 2019 and are expected to increase by 50% by the end of the vacation.
To meet consumer demand, many car rental services suppliers and platforms are actively expanding the proportion of off-road vehicles and large commercial vehicles suitable for long journeys. Meanwhile, some companies are also identifying high-demand areas and times.
We give full play to data technology and fully dispatch the vehicles to the areas with highest demand in real time.
The Ministry of Transport recently said the car rental industry had continued to pick up since the beginning of the year. With the launch of new regulations, the industry will be further supported and continue to gain momentum. Su Xinbo, CGTN, Beijing.
And the vacation consumption frenzy is lifting duty-free sales in China's southern Hainan Island. According to data from the local customs authority, offshore duty-free sales hit 426 million yuan, or roughly $60 million in the first 3 days of the ongoing 8-day break. That number is 40% more than the same period last year. Over 60,000 shoppers joined the shopping spree, and that's almost double the number seen in the same period last year. Businesses had anticipated a shopping bonanza before the holiday. The Sanya Phoenix International Airport expanded duty-free shopping areas by about 5,000 square meters, introducing more than 300 new brands. The duty-free policy, which allows domestic tourists to buy product without taxation, was launched back in 2011. Well, China's official Purchasing Managers Index for the manufacturing sector came in at 50.2 in September. That's above the 50 threshold, separating growth from contraction. Now, that number marks a 4th consecutive increase. In the meantime, non-manufacturing PMI increased to 51.7 in September from August's reading of 51. The composite PMI, which measures general economic output, also remained above the 50 mark. Zhao Qinghe, senior statistician at China's National Bureau of Statistics, said positive factors were piling up thanks to a series of support measures. And a private PMI survey on smaller firms also confirms China's steady economic recovery. The Caixin manufacturing PMI for September stood at 50.6. It was slightly lower than August's 51 reading, but still above that critical 50 threshold. Caixin said that both supply and demand increased for a second straight month. The private survey's PMI for services was 50.2 in September. The figure has now been running above the 50 mark since January. Overall, the composite PMI stood at 50.9. The Caixin PMI focuses more on small and medium-sized companies as well as the export sector, while the official PMI is tilted more towards larger state-owned enterprises. Well, autumn is generally considered a busy season for China's property market. Last month, Shanghai was among several major cities to introduce new policies targeting first-time home buyers. Agents expect to see more buyer interest during the Golden Week holiday. Chen Tong takes a closer look.
It's the holidays, but at this real estate agency in Shanghai's Pudong New area, the property agents are hard at work. In early September, Shanghai announced that buyers who don't own a home would be eligible for preferential loan rates regardless of their prior credit records. In the week that followed, sales at the agency doubled, with over 30 apartments sold.
Most buyers at our agency are still looking for larger apartments or are moving from other areas to our region. Most people are still holding cash in their hands to see whether there will be favorable new policies in the future.
Gao says most home buyers are not rushing to buy. He expects to see more interest later in the week-long Golden Week holiday.
We expect to welcome more buyers after October the 3rd, so all of us are standing by.
It's not only in Shanghai. In recent months, many cities in China have also loosened the restrictions on residential property purchases, hoping to lure in more buyers. But some experts believe these moves aim at a relatively short-term goal, injecting more liquidity into the financial market.
These policies are implemented from a financial perspective. They're effective in the short term to build market confidence. In the future, the question of how to build special industries to attract more talent will be crucial to pushing up the city's property market.
After the easing of home loan restrictions, some experts believe more measures may be introduced in the weeks to come to further boost the property market. Chen Tong, CGTN, Shanghai.
And still to come here on Global Business. Fostering deeper ties. China and Germany are working on a blueprint for fiscal and financial cooperation, and the strengthening of those economic ties could be of mutual advantage. We'll explain.
The world economy as we know it is about to change. Global Business reports highlight emerging markets, developing countries, and dynamic sectors worldwide. We feature top analysts and newsmakers to provide perspectives on every facet of business. From an on-the-ground perspective, we provide you with balanced and objective assessments. Fast, sharp, and insightful. Global Business, only on CGTN.
Well, China and Germany have agreed to boost financial policy cooperation, oppose trade protectionism, and promote a transparent and non-discriminatory multilateral trading system. The two sides made the joint statement on Sunday as high-profile delegations met in Frankfurt to discuss the future of the bilateral financial relationship. Our Peter Oliver has more from Berlin.
The delegations, headed up by Chinese Vice Premier He Lifang and German Finance Minister Christian Lindner, met through the night, Saturday into Sunday morning, and there was an awful lot for them to talk about. The last time these two nations met at this level was way back in January 2019, before the COVID-19 pandemic, before the conflict in Ukraine, and with an entirely different German government. The two leaders talked about global economic recovery and agreed that the mechanisms already in place with the World Bank and IMF were the best way to help developing nations. Expansion of market access between Germany and China was front and center, particularly when it came to banking and investment. Investing in China by German firms in RMB was also heavily talked about, as was cooperation when it came to fighting financial crimes. And there was also heavy hints that we're going to be seeing a lot more of these meetings in the future.
Both sides are determined to expand market access options and create a level playing field, i.e. competitive conditions. This creates opportunities on both sides for more responsible action and investments.
Germany's economy is stagnating right now. The latest government-commissioned forecasts, including those by Lindner's ministry, suggest a 0.6% decline in GDP for 2023. That casts Germany well off the EU average of 0.8% growth. Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng told the media that Germany and China could find mutually beneficial solutions by working together.
Both sides believe that economic cooperation contributes to the development of both countries and that strengthening economic relations can lead to a win-win situation. Both sides emphasized that they would work together to preserve the stability and security of global supply chains and to position themselves resolutely against decoupling.
It has been too long since they last met at this level. That's the takeaway from this meeting. Last year, trade between Germany and China was worth almost $300 billion. And if Germany is to weather the current financial choppy waters it finds itself in, a close partnership with China may well be essential. Peter Oliver, CGTN, Berlin.
Now, the 25-point joint statement that China and Germany have agreed upon ranges from cooperation in financial fields to expanding market access for trade and investment. On global economic recovery, China and Germany have committed to combat trade protectionism and maintain strong collaboration under the framework of multilateral financial institutions such as the AIIB and IMF. They will cooperate on macroeconomic policy and promote smooth global supply chains. On economic cooperation, the two sides will expand mutual market access based on a level playing field and deepen sustainable trade and investment cooperation. The joint statement also details various mechanisms to increase two-way investments. Both sides encourage qualified financial institutions to invest and conduct business in each other's market. German companies are expected to actively participate in China's capital market with the support of better clearing services that enable them to conduct business in the Chinese renminbi instead of the US dollar. Well, a number of German brands were among the first to enter the Chinese market in the late 1970s. In July, Volkswagen announced a $700 million investment, or a 5% stake, in Chinese electric vehicle maker XPeng, aimed at jointly developing cars. XPeng CEO spoke with us about this recent tie-up between the German legacy car maker and its Chinese partner. Take a listen.
Volkswagen said that they actually wanted to cooperate with a company focused purely on technology. I am glad to see that Volkswagen finally chose XPeng after contacting so many manufacturers since last year. I think that's because XPeng is the best in terms of intelligence and the most in line with Volkswagen's ideas. There are many ways to truly realize globalization, but I think the best way is through technology.
How will this collaboration benefit the high-quality development and opening up of China's auto industry? And what would that mean to the whole global market?
I'm very optimistic about the future of Volkswagen because they are willing to change. At the same time, I also think that we finally have some technologies that make other powerhouses in the world think that you are good. Learning from each other is something that Chinese entrepreneurs, China's scientific and technological creation, still need to do well over the next few decades. The longer I have been in this high-quality manufacturing industry, the more I feel that we have to change, grow, and win-win together. The world is indeed round.
Well, over the past decade, 152 countries and 32 international organizations have signed up to the Belt and Road Initiative. Now, as the initiative hits its 10-year mark, CGTN's reporters have traveled to 22 Belt and Road nations across Asia, Africa, Europe, and Latin America to uncover stories of cooperation, transformation, and people-to-people exchanges under the framework. In today's episode, our reporter Cao Zhufeng takes us on a journey to explore the rich natural environment over in Tanzania. Take a look.
You're looking at a baby cheetah. You might think it must be scary for the cameraman to get so close to a predator. But it's actually a heartwarming moment for Chen Jianxing. His pen name, 非洲的青山, means the green mountain of Africa. He says wild predators can be much friendlier to humans than people imagine.
这是我们跟踪一只名叫 Helen 的母猎豹，它带了6只猎豹幼崽，然后它很辛苦，然后它只要见到我的车之后，它就把它的小猎豹往我的车边上一扔，让小猎豹围着我的车玩。然后这个时候 Helen 就跑到另外一边一个土堆那儿，离我大概有20几米，它一个人休息去了。然后我的感触就是，所有的动物，所有的家长都一样，都很讨厌熊孩子。
Qingshan quit his job as a Chinese diplomat to live in the wild. And it's hard to use one word to describe his job now. He records, writes, studies, and protects these wild animals. And this has been his dream since childhood.
这是从小树立的一个梦想，就是到非洲来跟野生动物生活在一起，像动物一样生活，了解他们的喜怒哀乐，了解他们群体的变迁，我觉得是最幸福的事情。
那我们看到它了以后，我们要记录的话，应该大概是一个什么样子？
记录就记录一下这个斑马群的总数是多少，然后其中它的内部构成是什么样的情况。
一般来说要观察多久？1年。
1年，至少需要1年。
As you could probably imagine, this is a job that takes patience and tenacity.
首先，吃住环境肯定是比较简陋的，没有热水洗澡，经常吃不到热饭。然后每天在外面奔波的时候遇上暴雨或者遇上暴晒，再就是没有人交流，我只能跟动物交流。
These kind of conditions might scare other people off, but Qingshan has been living like this for the past 15 years, and there is no turning back.
然后疫情有2年的时间我在国内，我在城市里面就睡眠也不好，吃饭也不好。当我时隔2年之后，我又回到了这里。马上心就安了，然后我就觉得这条路我是走不开了，我肯定会沿着这条路走下去的。
He says many of the wild animals in Tanzania are now his close friends, but so are local people who are touched by his love for this land and its creatures. 曹楚峰 CGTN Arusha.
And for more on what the Belt and Road Initiative means for Tanzania, I want to bring in He Wenping, Research Fellow at the Institute of West Asian and African Studies of the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. Dr. He, thank you for joining us. Let me start with the bird's eye view question first. How are China and Tanzania working together under the BRI? How has this initiative supported, you think, Tanzania's economic development?
Yes, Tanzania together with Ethiopia has serving as the frontier country together with China for building this Belt and Road Initiative. So over the past 10 years, actually a lot of infrastructure projects has been made. For example, the airport terminal in Zanzibar, and also the pipe, those oil pipe, and also like railway, and also the hydropower station, so on so forth, and also the big bridge already also built there, linking those two cities together, and also provide very convenient this transportation access for all the people there. So apart from those infrastructure projects, and trade volume also has been doubled over the 10 years, and many Tanzania agricultural products now has been entered into Chinese market, and also China has been serving as the biggest trade partner for Tanzania in the past 7 years. And also many Chinese newly invested those industrial those factories also there, like cement factory, glass factory. This can create quite a lot of jobs for Tanzania local people. Plus, like people-to-people communication, Tanzania has a lot of tourist resources. A lot of Chinese people would like to visit Tanzania, like the mountain Kilimanjaro, and also a lot of beautiful this diversity of animals and plants. So all those like our the video just show us. So those has brought a lot of this people-to-people communication chances. Plus, over the past 10 years, we have been training all kinds of different those professional Tanzania people for more than like around 3,500. Even myself has been come across with a number of those Tanzania, either from different background, like officials as well, came to our IBO, this the training center, training academy affiliated with MOFCOM. So also offer me a lot of chances to communicate with them. So over all the past 10 years, we have seen tremendous these achievements under this BRI construction.
Yeah, so you mentioned infrastructure, you mentioned trade, people-to-people exchanges, and also, like you mentioned, we were just reporting on the beauty of Mother Nature that can be found in Tanzania, those beautiful and very cute cheetah cubs, I must say. Can the BRI support Tanzania's efforts to promote green development?
Yes, that's for sure. We can remember that review after Chinese Communist Party wrapped up this 20th Party Congress, and the very first visit, state visit, that was Tanzania President Hassan. So when the President Hassan visited China, so she has been brought great concern to this green development and also blue economy development and digital economy development between China and Tanzania. So for this green development, we all know Tanzania has very rich resources for all those those mountains and rivers, all those things. So now we help them to build like this biogas for agriculture for those farmers. Yeah, how to do this circulation, this agricultural economy, especially in the rural area. If you develop this biogas, and then you can use them in very different kinds of way. So this is a very important thing. This is called the green agricultural development. And also like this renewable energy, how to develop them as a new energy like solar power, wind power, and even those coast, those waves, how to generate the power from those sea waves, those blue economy. Those are all these new folks coming from President Hassan when she visited China. We have put them in this joint statement between the two countries.
And briefly, Dr. He, China has been helping Tanzania on agriculture, like you mentioned, really to enhance the country's food security as well. What kind of progress have we seen on that front?
Yes, agricultural cooperation has been long serving as our basic component for bilateral cooperation. Actually, in recent years, I think we opened Chinese market widely to Tanzania, also other African countries, the agricultural products. For example, those like sisal, those things, and also this corn and the fruits, all those agricultural products now coming to China. And the Chinese also agricultural expertise has been constantly being dispatched to Tanzania. They have been building this agricultural technical demonstration center, share the technical know-how to the agricultural, those farmers, and also those technicians. So through all those cooperation, I think now we can help Tanzania to increase their agricultural productivity, also to control, to get to know the new technical way for improving the agricultural productivity. So I think nowadays, Chinese government has put this agricultural cooperation as also the core in this China-Africa Cooperation Forum, the FORCAC mechanism. Back to you.
All right. Many thanks for your thoughts on all of this, Dr. He Wenping, Research Fellow at the Institute of West Asian and African Studies of the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. Thank you. And with that, we're going to wrap up this edition of Global Business here on CGTN. I'm Michael Wong here in Beijing. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next time.